fight video. Usyk versus Joshua 2. As Andy Gill said in our interview from Evolve Elite Boxing Academy in England, he said that Joshua is good, but Usyk is great. And that's exactly what you saw tonight. You saw a difference between a guy that was trying to become great. And Joshua is a good heavyweight, but he was trying to change the tide and turn from being a good heavyweight to being a great heavyweight. And Joshua being a good heavyweight, but not a great heavyweight. He made the adjustments work into the body, of course. But again, Usyk showed class with the left hand and even was able to, two things, being able to dish it out, greatness, being able to dish it out, but then being able to take it as well. And one of the great things about Muhammad Ali, who was Usyk born the same day as Muhammad Ali, both men able to absorb tremendous amounts of punishment and still able to come back and dish it out. Usyk can give it and he can take it. And that's what makes him a great fighter. He's got great stamina. He's got great ring IQ. He's got a big heart. He's got a great chin. He's got a great engine. And he can come back when things are difficult. He had a torrid 9th round and came back in the 10th round and stuck it on AJ and just showed the difference in class. And for those people who were doubting the abilities of Alexander Usyk, I think again, you saw AJ, a much better AJ, and even with Robert Garcia in his corner, he couldn't close the gap. From what I understand, AJ and Garcia were not seeing eye to eye in the corner. In terms of his trainer, he wasn't in agreement with Robert Garcia. It was a decision that he left Angel Fernandez with. He let Angel Fernandez decide who should be beside him. And for me, I thought that was a terrible decision to have made. And now him, Robert Garcia, and Angel Fernandez can get to the back of the queue now, along with Eddie Hearn as well. And we can look at this brave new world of heavyweight boxing. I mean, Usyk's 35 years old. He's probably got one fight left in, which is the Tyson Fury fight. He said he'll either fight Tyson Fury fight or he'll fight again. If that's the case, then we could be looking at some more belts being left up for grabs. So we could be seeing a situation where we might have multiple world champions again. If Tyson Fury decides not to fight Usyk, then we could have a situation with him vacating all those belts. And if he vacates all those belts, then the heavyweight division goes upside down. Who knows? We might still get a fight between AJ and Wilder for the heavyweight championship of the world. Who knows? Might happen. As for AJ now, I don't know what happened at the end with AJ. I don't know what he was on. I don't know what he was talking. I've got absolutely no idea what AJ was talking about. No idea. I'm lost. I don't know if that was a breakdown afterwards. He was walking out of the ring and then he walked back into the ring again. Again, I have no idea what AJ was saying. I didn't know what he was talking about. And what, he's got people around the world watching him and he's swearing and cussing like a sailor. I don't know if he still wants to be that role model or he doesn't want to be that role model or he's a sore loser or what. But it's not unnecessary for him to go all the way to Saudi Arabia and swear like that. I understand. And then afterwards say, Bismillah at the end. I mean, what's all that about? Whatever he said at the end. And I don't understand it. It sounds very confusing. You're out there swearing in a highly religious country, swearing like a sailor. On a microphone, loads of people going to see AJ fight. Maybe parents taking their kids to see AJ fight. I don't know, but it was just very poor, just very distasteful. That was probably shown on Sky as well, and they couldn't edit that out. So I don't know what AJ was on. I don't know what tip AJ was on, but he seemed like he lost it. He needs to wrap it up. I know he was talking. I don't know why they didn't mute his microphone because I don't know what he was going on about the Ukraine and it being the war is going on. I didn't know if he was trying to give us a Martin Luther King speech. I didn't know if he was Roadman AJ. I didn't know if he was Professor AJ. I didn't know what what's going on with AJ. I've got no idea. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, he needs to go to the back of the queue. AJ has to go to the back of the line now and start working his way up. Usyk showed his not only his endurance but courage, his endurance. Yeah, well, I think Bashir told us about all that stuff about Usyk. Endurance, he has courage, skill, defense, and can brave the fire. Yep, well, I believed he could. But he braved the fire before. We've seen him brave the fire before against GARCIA, against Bradis, against guys who've got faster hands than Joshua. You know, so I thought, to me, you know, Usyk showed us what he was about, and I'm kind of glad that he's won. It justifies a lot of things that have been said about Usyk. I hope people now give him his dues and respect him the way he should be respected, and that you're looking at a great fighter. And all those AJ fans who thought AJ would just guard him, knock him out, and blow him over, including Colton Palmer, can really respect Usyk now. Problem with AJ is I felt that if he had a world-class trainer years ago, imagine if he had started with Bashir and not McCracken, the sort of fighter he would have been today. Even if he'd cut away from the McCracken and Hearn, he pulled away then when he had that Joseph Parker fight all those years ago when I said you need to leave Eddie Hearn. I said it and people said, no, I should stay with McCracken. You should. Well, good. You've got it now. You've got exactly what you've been trying to protect for years with AJ. And there you go. He fought with heart and guts. Yeah, Denise Ward, yes, absolutely. I said the same thing about Adrian Broner, AJ, Jamal Charlo. Sports psychologists are good for assistance in getting them through not only physical blocks but mental blocks. Good evening, Denise. Much love to you. It's good to see you in the house. So those are my thoughts. Usyk, winner of the Super Series, storied amateur career, former undisputed cruiserweight, now unified heavyweight champion, and linear heavyweight champion. Ring Magazine. Now he's in the lineage of all the greats. Yeah, and all those people that were saying to me, oh, you know, you just wanted AJ, you wanted Bashir to train AJ. Yes, I wanted Bashir to train AJ because Bashir would have given AJ the best chance. Imagine that's what AJ did with Robert Garcia. Imagine if AJ had Bashir in that corner, the difference he could have made. Because Bashir would have known Usyk inside out. You go with Robert Garcia. So those people who were on the chat before with me and was telling me, I was bitter because Bashir didn't get the job. Well, no, you got Garcia. I hope now you're happy with that. And you're happy now your guys to the back of the queue. If he'd made the decision, Bashir, who knows? He could have been a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. You made poor decisions inside the ring. You've made poor decisions outside the ring. It was not a calculated move whatsoever to get Robert Garcia in there. I mean, yes, he improved, but he's meant to improve under a different trainer. You know, he's meant to improve, but he didn't improve enough to become heavyweight champion of the world again. So if you're not going to improve enough to become heavyweight champion of the world again, it's all in vain. What are you going to say in box track? Well, he threw more body punches. And he had a great 9th round, and he almost stopped Usyk. Well, Usyk almost came out the next round and put it on AJ. So I to me, it's no point. You know, if you're not going to invest, and he didn't invest as far as I'm concerned. He could have had James Bashir in that corner. So for me, I said if he lost to Usyk, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you make a decision like that. You live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. And quite literally, this situation is you've made a decision, which is a very poor decision, and you're suffering from it. BWTM Sports, you have been saying this for years that AJ should have went with Bashir. AJ blew it on the show today. Good. And all the AJ fans, all those people were saying things about me. Oh, you know, I hate AJ and stuff. Not about hating AJ. I've been saying this for years. So now, obviously, you were happy with the decision that AJ took to go with Robert Garcia, who'd proven nothing at heavyweight, who had never trained legitimately top heavyweight. So why would you want Robert Garcia? So where did I get AJ in the end? And then AJ didn't even see eye to eye with Robert Garcia. So where did that go? Where did that all end up? So for me, you look who Usyk had in his corner. He had Malik Scott in his corner as well, working with him in camp. He had some top quality heavyweights in camp with him, and that makes a difference. It makes a difference. All those quality heavyweights that were pounding on, not just AJ was pounding in that fight, but Usyk was able to mentally hold it together because he had quality sparring. In that, how many guys, I'm going to ask you the question, how many guys that AJ was sparring with are going to go on and have really good heavyweight careers? That's the question I would ask. And then let's have a look and see those guys that Usyk's been sparring with. I wonder how many of them will go on to be top 10 heavyweights or go on to become heavyweight champions of the world. Very interesting to find that out. We'll have a look and see. Maybe 5 years from now, we'll know more about it. We know that Vladimir Klitschko, when he set up his camp, Vladimir Klitschko had AJ in his camp, he had White in his camp, he had Deontay Wilder in his camp. So he's had guys that have been who either challenged for the heavyweight championship, were ranked number 1 in the world, or even being world champion. So I mean, that's the sort of quality that Klitschko had in camp, and these were young guys he had in camp. Do you know what I mean? Title holders or champions. So when you set your camp up like that, it makes a difference. So Usyk was taking that punishment now, tonight. But the thing is, what you have to remember is that Usyk was taking punishment in sparring as well from big, heavy guys. I mean, probably guys who are more durable than AJ. So for me, AJ's brought this all upon himself. He said he's stubborn. Well, you're stubborn, you're no longer heavyweight champion of the world. And now, people say now he may retire if he doesn't become heavyweight champion of the world. Now what happens? I want to know what him and Eddie are going to do. What's Eddie going to do now? I'm delighted. Absolutely delighted. Absolutely delighted. So Angel Fernandez and Robert Garcia and Anthony Joshua, they're going to be a lot richer for sure from it. But money is one thing. And even Joshua, when he was talking about if he gets the belts, he's going to dash them he's going to dash them belts away. Well, Mr. Joshua, you don't have to worry about belts being dashed away because you've got a champion who wants to keep the belts. AJ has to get in the back of the line now. Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. And so who's AJ going to make a comeback against? DAZN signed a deal with him now. And so who's he going to fight now? Obviously, the Deontay Wilder fight's there. Maybe he can get a fight against Daniel Dubois. Maybe AJ can get the WBA title. Maybe AJ can get a third fight with Dillian White. That's a possibility. I'll probably try and sell that one on DAZN. White versus Joshua 3, the road back, something like that. But Dillian White's may have business with Dubois, so that might not happen. Let's see what Joseph Parker does with Joe Joyce. If Joseph Parker beats Joe Joyce, then hey, maybe Joseph Parker might run it back with Joshua again. Don't know. And psychologically, after this fight, where is he going to be? If Helenius walks through if Wilder walks through Helenius, which I think he will now, that he's shrunk back down to his best weight, the AJ fight still on the radar. It might still be on the radar if Wilder beats Helenius. I am not as convinced that Wilder's just going to go out there and blow Helenius out. I'm just not. We'll have to see what Wilder's got left, because he took a lot of punches in that fight against Fury in those 3 fights, and we don't know how much Fury's got left because White wasn't able to answer that question for us. But if Helenius can get his jab going, he can start throwing that right hand and start backing Wilder up. Could be interesting. Helenius is a tough fight, and we don't know how much is left in the exactly. You see, reading my mind exactly shook one. So that's another thing. There's no foregone conclusion that fight with Wilder. So I suppose all those Joshua fans who were writing me off and saying all rubbish about this and that about Joshua and what I think and that, I'm sure now they will scurry away now and hide, because they won't come out now. Looking at Fury in the white fight, he looked a few steps slower and not as elusive. That trilogy took some salad out of his tackle. You know, it'd be interesting. I'll tell you something. Will Fury want to fight Usyk? And if Usyk doesn't get that fight, does Usyk retire? I mean, if he doesn't fight, I mean, I'm sure he'd want to be undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. But he seemed, I mean, after taking the amount of body punches he took from Anthony Joshua, it didn't stop. Usyk wanting Tyson Fury. So I don't think Tyson Fury is as physically strong as Anthony Joshua. And he does struggle against smaller guys. He got knocked over by Steve Cunningham. I mean, it's a great fight. It's a difficult fight for Fury. I wonder if Fury will go southpaw against Usyk. I don't think Fury is excited to fight Usyk, given where Fury is in his career and knowing that he's the mission since the trilogy. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he wants that. I don't really think he wants that fight. He says he'll walk through Usyk, but he's got to think in his mind, well, what I've just seen. But then, again, he may say to himself, Usyk's 35 years old. He's just had a war with Joshua. Joshua whacked that body up, You don't know what damage Usyk's going to have after this fight. What's he going to be like afterwards? So even Usyk at 35 years old, that was probably the most brutal fight he's been in. And he's not getting younger. But they say heavyweights, as they get older, they get better, they say. So, I mean, I think Usyk might actually have an easier fight against Fury. I would predict Usyk circling right and then mid-fight starting to... Let's go back a second here. I'm trying to get these comments up. But the comments keep disappearing. I'll predict him circling right and then mid-fight starts circling left and then change levels. Damn, son. Yeah, that would be something. That'd be a great fight. But I don't think Fury's going to want that. I really don't. But who knows? Who knows? But congratulations, Alexander Usyk. Unified. And now Ring Magazine. Heavyweight champion of the world. Alexander Usyk. So happy for him. AJ, what's going to happen now? Are you going to blame your team again? Are you going to sack Fernandez? Are you going to sack Robert Garcia? What's the excuse? AJ said tonight on the fight, he says, what are you on about? Really was bamboozled by the Ukrainian. I don't know. I don't know what AJ was on. AJ sounded like he had a breakdown when he was on the mic. People called him Roadman at Jay, Watford Jay, Unhappy Shopper Jay, Gate Man Jay. Well, he's no longer the landlord, so he's probably the gatekeeper now, or not the gatekeeper, then the I don't know. But where is AJ now? Is he still ranked number 3 in the world? I mean, you've got Fury, you've got Usyk. Do you say Joshua or do you say Fury? And then where do you put Joe Joyce? And Joseph Parker. Well, Joshua's beaten Joseph Parker, but what about Joe Joyce? I don't know. Maybe even to say AJ was tripping, to use US slang was an understatement. I will just say this. I'll just say what Ingram says at times like this. Bruv, evening, just joined. The mask dropped there. LOL. Fair play to him for the he gave it. The mask dropped. Yeah. The MK Ultra must have run out. I don't know. Robot J became AJ, real J. I don't know. But the thing is, I want to know whether he'll get any trouble for that. I want to know if he'll get any trouble for that, because all that swearing, How can you say, I don't know, I don't understand how you can go and swear in front of all those people. And where was AJ going anyway? It's like he's walking out the ring. Where was he going to? Good to see you, Steve. I've seen you in a while. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. But where was AJ going in the first place? Where was he walking off to? He was walking out the ring. But, I mean, so what happens now? What's he going to blame? Is he going to say he wasn't getting on with the team? I heard a story. He had a sparring injury. What we saw was the real AJ, not the endorsements, not the Nike deals, the real AJ. Strange times ahead. Yeah, strange times ahead. I mean, maybe it was, maybe what you see there, I'll tell you what you could call that. Everybody understands it. That sounds to me, the way he was behaving there was self-sabotage. Or was AJ imploding? Not exploding, imploding. I mean, I don't know, Stephen, you'd probably be better to judge that than me, but he looked like he was having a meltdown right there. Even Eddie Hearn for once was speechless, and that's hard to do to Ed. Yeah, he wasn't expecting that. I mean, well, he wasn't. I don't think Eddie was expecting that, but there was some issues in the camp. Robert Garcia, supposedly him and AJ weren't getting on. I heard that there was an injury to AJ. I don't know. Even maybe somebody suggested that the talk AJ was talking there, he was slightly concussed. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was hiding embarrassment. I don't know. I don't know what he was on. I didn't understand what he was talking about. And the more I waffle about it, the more I start sounding like him. I've got no idea what AJ was going on about. No idea. No idea. No idea. I just think tonight was a good night for the boxing. I think the Kingdom pulled off a good show for their second time out. There will be repercussions for that AJ incident. Oh yeah, there will be repercussions for sure. Maybe not. I mean, how can you go to Saudi Arabia and open up your mouth, run up your gums like that? No respect. No respect. And all those endorsements, no respect. I mean, I don't know. Just maybe he was being like Mike Tyson and just, some sort of outrage there. I don't know. Fake rage. I don't know. I don't know. Mike had them out. I used to have them outbursts. He had the outburst with him, and he tried to punch the referee when he's fighting loose separation. There was that one. There was I broke my back. Spinal. Remember that one? What else? I want your heart. I want your kids. We like to apologize to the viewers for that segment a moment ago. Adam Smith classic line, yeah. Spy Sports do apologize for the use of poor language from AJ. I mean, what are the broadcasters going to say to him? What does the Prince say to him? I mean, that and they had no time to edit that either. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on in AJ's head. I've got no idea. Cheers. Not sure what to make of it, other than a mini breakdown, or perhaps more likely those real emotions just overwhelm me. To constantly be PC and the media is not easy. Well, I don't know. It was easy when he was raking in the money. Be humble. It was easy when he was winning, and if he had kept winning, it would have stayed easy. But he started suffering L's and losses, and people started criticizing him. If anybody can justify the Robert Garcia decision, then please feel free. Secondly, that's the first thing. Second thing is, again, I repeat, if Bashir was in his corner, if Garcia improved him, then the last 3 rounds, if it's the last 3 rounds that cost AJ the fight, then imagine if AJ had James Elliott Bashir in the corner, a trainer who trained Usyk from the very first pro fight, took him to the Cruiserweight Championship of the world. Yes, that's the point. He gave it all and lost. We can all be humble when we win. Yeah, that's true. So the Bashir thing will come back to haunt. It will come back to haunt AJ. It'll come back to haunt him. It should have been Bashir years ago. I really think AJ walked into this fight with some hubris, thinking that he's guaranteed to win, and he's got him. You could see the frustration with Usyk. When Usyk was still standing after the flurry. Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe he thought Usyk was going to fall over. Maybe that was the plan. That Usyk will hit Usyk with his right hand and some body shots, and Usyk will just fall over. But this is elite boxing, bro. And great fighters don't do that. Great fighters don't do that. So, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I wonder what excuses are going to come out of the AJ camp. He said he looked like he's boxing like Muhammad Ali in there, the first fight. He said that he thought he was winning the fight. I've heard some people come out and say people think that AJ was robbed. Oh, dear me. But the talking points will be that corner. Think of how many times AJ flurried guys and they folded, and then Usyk didn't only wilt but countered. Must be very discouraging. Well, yeah. That's what happens when you have these fights where you hit guys and they fall over and there's no resistance. And then when you meet a guy that gives you resistance, there's a problem. I had to fight 8-4 Usyk. The one judge had 116, 112 was on point. And he was. I don't know how they gave that fight. That one judge gave it to Joshua. I don't know. In fact, I think that judge should be investigated, to be honest. They should investigate that judge. That decision was BS. I had Usyk by unanimous decision. Yeah. I'm surprised Usyk didn't stop. My prediction was that Usyk would stop Joshua. Two of them had 115, 113. Man, I know. Yeah, but it was all set up. It seemed to me it was all set up for AJ to be 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. That's what it seemed like. It seemed that the whole scene was set for AJ to be 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. But AJ, unfortunately, in the 10th round, in round 10, the round after Usyk was hurt, AJ was almost gone. Well, there you go. Shows you that's the difference between a good fighter and a great fighter. You know. So, all right. I'm going to come to the end of this now because battery is running low. So, hope you enjoyed it. Where does AJ go from here? Questions are, what's going to happen with Robert Garcia? I think he's just not A-class. Bo, Lewis, Holyfield, etc. at their best was a different breed. AJ obviously good, but not great. Yeah, good. I'm glad people are seeing this because the AJ versus Lennox Lewis. Well, Lennox Lewis will be laughing somewhere at AJ now and saying, you know, that guy called me a clown. Who's the clown now? No guy test. Seen? Like Holyfield's mother said to him before the first fight, great people. Great people don't go away. They have to be faced. That's it. That's the one. So let me know what you think is going to happen with AJ. Who should he make his comeback against? Will there be excuses? What were the excuses like? You know, I told that boy I'm a pugilist specialist. No guy tests me. Undisputed Scene. I turned Hassim Rahman to Hasbin Rahman. Scene. You know, Holyfield was there, Holyfield was there watching the boxing. And I saw AJ tonight, and he just couldn't close the gap. He's good. You got to give him credit. He threw more body shots, but at the end of the day, he should have had a teacher in there. And you can't get a fitness first guy teaching you how to box. You need somebody like someone like James Ali Bashir. He was Emmanuel Stewart's right hand man, and I'm shocked that he picked Robert Garcia. Garcia's a good trainer, but at the end of the day, he's not a heavyweight specialist, and you need to have a specialist. And Bashir's your man, Evander Holyfield only response, well, how it goes sometimes. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. When AJ comes back to the UK with no belts, the inquest will begin. Gareth A. Davis, who I want him to go into. I want to find more information as to how Gareth A. Davis knew that Garcia and AJ were not getting on. Well, we'll see. What happens to Usyk? Do you think that Usyk's going to vacate the belts? Do you think Usyk Fury will happen? Will AJ come up with excuses? Gareth A. Davis on suicide watch. Poor Chisora. Oh, dear me. Poor Darren Barker. Yeah, I just want AJ to get in there, get stuck in, get stuck in. Not reckless, just get stuck in. Well, he did exactly what you want him to do. All you people out there, AJ did exactly what you want him to do. He got stuck in, a few body shots. It was aggressive. It was a bigger man. It laid on Usyk. So what more? It wasn't good. He just isn't good enough. That's it. And that's no shame. It's no shame whatsoever for AJ. He can come again if he wants it. Carl Froch after tonight. Well, at least I won it from 80,000 people. Lennox would just walk past Joshua, go, undisputed. Seen? You know what that feels like. You know what it's like to be undisputed. No, you don't. You're calling me a clown. Who's the real clown now? And on that note, I'm out. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.